Welcome back to Second Breakfast and our ongoing music discussions, bringing you the best thoughts, theories, and literary analysis this side of Birmingham, England.
We talk about music a lot, but I think we've only done one proper episode that's just on one song. And that was years and years ago. It was a Led Zeppelin song.
Back in the Tolkien days, we did an episode on one of the Zeppelin songs that is rife with Tolkien references. Battle of Evermore, I think it was.
Yeah, that's what it was.
You may notice that my intro was a little less spirited than it usually is. We're recording this a couple days after Ozzy Osbourne died, which has, are we past 30 seconds? Okay, so we won't be demonetized. Royally fucked me up. And I don't know, I've been feeling very reflective. Metal means a lot to me. Black Sabbath especially means a lot to me. And that genre really helped me get through when my mom died. And I got to see Sabbath live, and Tony, the guitarist, had just gone through his experience with cancer, and it all felt of a piece, and the music still means a great deal to me. So, I don't know, it's very strange now to be on the other side of that, now that Ozzy's passed away. So, I didn't know what to do. I've been listening to their music for the past couple days, and I don't know, we've been doing this show 5 years and more than 500 episodes. And yesterday I was listening to their music on my turntable and, trying to rock out and have some fun. And so now we have an episode. I have a page full of notes here. So we're going to be doing a close reading of the original Black Sabbath song. Because it's not just that I love metal for the amazing guitar solos and the vibe and the crunchiness and the amps and the pedals and all that. Black Sabbath is my favorite metal band. And their first song, their thesis statement, the thing that created the genre of metal, how many people in the history of the planet can say that they made some advancement in their artistic field that profound? That first song, which is 6 minutes and 16 seconds long, came out in 1970. The first song on the first album, Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath,
from the album Black Sabbath.
That is a Faustus retelling. So we're going to do a close reading of that song, of its 3 verses within that framework. A little background information. This song became a live staple. They performed it on every tour. It was always so much fun to watch and listen to. And most of the band's early lyrics were written by Geezer Butler, who's the bassist, who's unbelievable. But this song was written by Ozzy.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
And it was, if the legend is to be believed, because, 50 years of one of the most successful careers ever, sometimes stories get a little inflated.
Of
That's
course,
fine.
yeah.
But apparently this was based on a true story that happened to Geezer, where he was a moody teenager and he painted his walls black and tried to do a summoning thing and then got freaked out and spooked and told Ozzy the story, and Ozzy wrote these lyrics.
Okay.
So it's interesting that this is from Ozzy's point of view, because of course he's singing and this is such a theatrical performance led by his vocal.
It is, yeah.
I love that it's written by him as well.
Okay, cool.
And as far as subgenres of metal, not only did this song and this album invent metal itself, but I would argue that this song invented doom metal, which is probably my favorite subgenre of metal. So I want to go through the lyrics and then do my analysis just so we're all on the same page.
That sounds great.
So we're going to go verse by verse, but I'll just do all 3 at once here.
Perfect. Yeah, I went back and listened to this song a few times, but this sort of idea and analysis is Cam's, so I'm sort of along for the ride with you, listener. But I'm excited to listen and ask questions.
But luckily, having been in my life for so long, you know Sabbath pretty well.
It's true, I do. And I know Faustus pretty well. So
we went on a road trip a couple days ago and blasted all of Sabotage, their 6th album, in the car.
Yeah, we did.
You know Sabbath pretty well. You're very well versed for this discussion. Okay, so the first verse is, "What is this that stands before me? Figure in black, which points at me. Turn round quick and start to run. Find out I'm the chosen one. Oh no." And the "oh no" is a long, protracted scream.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's very cool.
Then, musical interlude, we come back with the second verse, and that is, "Big black shape with eyes of fire, telling people their desire. Satan sitting there, he's smiling. Watches those flames get higher and higher. Oh, no, no, please God help me."
Damn.
Another scream. Another musical interlude. And then the third verse, which is sometimes referred to as the outro. I don't know. We're going to call it the third verse.
Okay.
"Is it the end, my friend? Satan's coming round the bend. People running 'cause they're scared. The people better go and beware. No, no, please no."
Wow.
So those are our lyrics.
And that's it, right?
Yes,
It's an
that's
interesting
it.
structure for a song. There's not a real chorus. Like, it's just kind of like these 3 verses.
Yes.
And like the chorus is the musical interlude, which I think is sort of maybe this is a tangent, but that feels very like thesis statement for metal. Like the music is the big part of it. The lyrics and stuff are fun. The verses are great, but like the point is the instruments.
Yes.
The point is the music.
I agree. And I think it's interesting, especially within a 6-minute song, that there are so few lyrics. I had to look it up multiple times. Like, there has to be more than this, right?
Yeah,
It's such
right.
a long song. But no, I love that it doesn't follow traditional songwriting structure, like you said, with chorus and verse in that way, where you think of a Taylor Swift song where there's kind of, I mean, not good or bad, but there's a formula.
Right.
There are elements that a song has to have, a bridge and all these funky things. And this feels much more like storytelling to me. I'm talking about Faustus, which is a play written in verse, and doing this close reading felt like reading Marlowe, which I went back to. It felt like verses of poetry.
Cool.
Where there's
Yeah.
still a structure, there's a rhyme scheme, but there aren't the traditional rules of songwriting in there. So I want to start with character mapping. That's usually where we start here. First question was the verses use the first person. So who is Ozzy? Who is that POV? I think he's pretty clearly Faustus here.
Yeah, that would
Since
make the most sense.
He's running from all these scary figures, and he seems to have done something wrong to get himself in that position.
He's the one who's in the summoning position.
Sure.
Yeah.
So when we say Ozzy, we mean the narrator, the first person, but Ozzy is Faustus here. Mm-hmm. And then there's a figure in black who's standing, and then there's it's we have to parse this. I'm going to the lyrics again.
Okay.
There's a figure in black which points at me, and then there's a big black shape with eyes of fire.
Okay. Do you think those are 2 things or
Yes,
the same thing?
I do. I think they're different
okay.
because the figure in black is described as standing, but the black shape is described as sitting.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to call one of those Mephistopheles and one of those Satan.
Okay, makes sense.
So in the first verse where we have, what is this that stands before me, figure in black which points at me, that's Mephistopheles.
Okay.
After the summoning, that's the demon that shows up.
Okay.
And then
sure.
later on, we get the big black shape with eyes of fire. Satan's sitting there, he's smiling.
Oh,
he's
labeled him. Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to call that Satan. But I think
Great.
there's enough distinction within these, differentiation within these lyrics, that they're 2 figures.
Interesting.
So, moving into our Dr. Faustus mapping, now that we have the characters on the board. The first verse, I would argue, starts after the summoning, because it's starting with Mephistopheles' appearance.
Yeah.
Not with Faustus trashing his office and then finding the books
Doing
and
the
setting
whole
up the
thing.
circle
Yeah.
and doing the whole
It's
thing.
already happened. Yeah. We're in the middle of it.
So Mephistopheles appears, Faustus panics and flees. But I love that there's still room, even in very few lyrics here, for the confirmation that an aged theologian like Faustus would clock of, I've studied Christianity, I've studied theology my whole life, but there's not really any proof in the pudding until you actually die. If you see the pearly gates, boom, you were right. If you don't, you were wrong. And I love that there's still an acknowledgement that by successfully summoning the demon, he has confirmed that Christianity is true.
Okay, cool.
And that would be that last line of the first verse, find out I'm the chosen one.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's a really interesting way of framing that theological confirmation, which has always meant a lot to me in the play.
Interesting.
Because you could argue, sorry, I'm emotional. You could argue that the play is kind of done after the summoning, because this is a curious guy at the end of his career who feels like he's uncovered and discovered everything within the academic world that he possibly could. And that's why he's throwing away his immortal soul to summon a demon, because he just wants to know. If there's any more information, any more secrets in the universe, he just has to know what those are.
I see.
And I love that that is captured here. And by calling himself the chosen one, I mean, imagine how unbelievably satisfying that would feel to this character, to finally know for sure.
Yeah. So do you think by chosen one, he means like the one who's like been chosen to get this confirmation that most people don't usually get?
Well, I think it's almost a compliment to Mephistopheles in the same way it's a critique of Faustus, because the way you would get to this guy, if you're trying to swindle him out of his soul, is to play to his ego. Mm-hmm. The thing that would seduce him is opening up the secrets of the afterlife to him and showing him this world beyond his knowledge.
Letting him eat from the tree.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
It's temptation. It's the ego trip. This is the seduction that would work.
Cool.
So it's not just, oh, I feel satisfied intellectually. It's this power. It's that you have power over this world that you've spent your whole life studying, and now you can bring a demon to heal. It's that you have power over the supernatural, not just that the supernatural is real.
I see.
I love that that's captured, because I very rarely see that mark hit in Faustus stories. So total compliments to Ozzy there.
Very cool.
Next thing is just sort of discussing how good this is as a Faustus retelling, because starting after the summoning is really interesting, because most things, even if they're cut real tight, start with the summoning, because it feels like such a dramatic, fun thing to stage. But starting after it is a fantastic bit of editing. Like, this is part of why I've always considered this song at 6 minutes an audio drama. Because, I mean, you just listened to it to prepare for this episode.
Yeah.
Do you agree that it kind of sounds like a Broadway show tune?
It does. I mean, it feels, it's incredibly theatrical, and I feel like it's really telling a story, and I feel like I'm like in the POV of the person singing, Yeah, it does feel very Broadway to me.
And it's not just that it's telling a story. I think it's telling a complete story. Like, this is a full Dr. Faustus retelling in microcosm. It's just ruthlessly cut down. It's the most brutal editing you can do to this story that would usually take an hour and a half to tell. And it reminds me a little bit of, have you ever heard of the Jefferson Bible?
I can't remember which one that is.
Yeah, I wasn't quizzing you. I was just introducing it. So Thomas Jefferson cut down the Bible to just the exact words of Jesus.
That's right.
And that was the version that he followed. And I feel like this is kind of doing that to Dr. Faustus, where it's stripping down the text to its most elemental, core, essential elements. So you have Faustus, Mephistopheles, Lucifer, the summoning, gestured at. You have the attempt to recant and turn to God, and then you have Faustus being unsuccessful and being dragged down to hell.
Okay, cool.
But in the editing process, you're cutting out all of the intervening adventures through the cosmos and the horse courser and the Germans and all that. You're losing all of Marlowe's supporting cast. And I love that this first verse, so efficient, so brutal, ends with the contract signed, the demon summoned, and Faustus knowing, you already feel that pit in his stomach the way Ozzy's delivering the lines and writing them, that Faustus knows that he's damned.
Yeah, because he says, "Oh no," and he screams it.
Yes, it's such a protracted shout. And I love all the live versions of this song because he's performing that. That's why I say it feels Broadway.
Yeah.
Because it's so luxuriating. It's so over the top. It's so grandiose. And Ozzy was an incredible performer anyway. But I feel like this song, he was running around like a chicken with his head cut off. There was so much energy there. And the fact that as he fades away with the "oh no," it cuts into the most sinister guitar riff.
Yeah, right, which sort of takes over him. And it, like the music set kind of acts as that hell force. It's
it really continues the storytelling. Yes, and that hellishness. I mean, we talk about this with Dante as well, where as many adaptations as there are of Faustus, of Inferno, it's kind of hard to depict hell. Like, what is it?
It's really hard.
I don't know. You've got some lava, some stalactites, stalagmites. Like, it's not that cool looking.
Right.
It's almost more interesting if you gesture at it.
Right. It's interesting in description, and when they're like only elements that are described, it's very hard to like visually depict. Yeah.
And I think it's really interesting to depict it sonically.
Yeah.
Because you have this overwhelming, terrifying vision of this thing in your head, and you feel it in your stomach. You feel it at the concert because you feel the bass drum kind of punching in your chest. You feel the guitar rattling through you. I think it's so much more effective this way versus the same kind of tired visuals that we've all seen and aren't that scary.
Sure.
I would argue this medium, this sensory experience of hell, is scarier than any visual one I've seen.
It's quite scary. It's very spooky. I'm always picturing like them playing this in a graveyard in the middle of the night,
Exactly.
Like it's very spooky. Yeah.
So the second verse picks up with what else? The middle, the most essential part of the middle of this play. that I've always argued, and every time we've done a Faust Fable episode, this is what I've looked for and found, and that is locked in. This one counts. You know, I can pitch this one to Maggie. It's genuine. And that would be Lucifer's cameo and the Parade of the Seven Deadly Sins. So Lucifer, Satan, you know, interchangeable here, only appears in one scene of the play.
Yes, yes.
And I love that he's mentioned once in this song by name, Satan. And that's the distinction with the Mephistopheles that I named before. But I love the subtle differentiation that Ozzy finds here between the Mephistopheles and the Lucifer. I talked about this a little before, of the difference between the figure in black and the big black shape with eyes of fire.
Yes.
So one of them is almost cloaked in or wearing black, and the other one is that darkness.
Nice.
So,
okay.
you know, I guess to go to the Bane example from Dark Knight Rises, you know, you merely adopted the dark. I was born in it.
Sure.
I like that because I've always tried to find Mephistopheles is much, much lower down the food chain than Satan himself.
Of course, yeah.
He's inexperienced. He's less important, and he's not that original sin or original sinner, I guess.
Sure.
So I love the distinction there. And then the next line is telling people their desire. And I think this is a really cool, kind of indirect but biting way to introduce the seven deadly sins.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So if you've still not read the play because you don't love me.
Wow. You heard it here first, listener.
The way that the seven deadly sins, they all have characters who represent them.
Yes.
And so you have sloth, and you have one of those go by, and you have lust, and you have one of those go by.
There's a sloth in the play.
Yes, exactly. But I really like telling people their desire. I think that's an interesting kind of knock against Satan here. Because having these characters who are doomed for all eternity to be these archetypes, to represent these sins, you're defining them by a singular action. You're defining them by their sins or their desires.
I see. Okay.
So telling people their desires could be labeling them by those sins.
Okay.
And kind of branding them. There's a Scarlet Letter kind of thing going on here.
Yeah, being defined by them.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then in the next bit of this second verse, the narrator sees Satan. We get that name drop finally. And this is the moment of the most fear, regret, and the attempted repentance. So just to read those lines again. Big black shape with eyes of fire, telling people their desire. Satan's sitting there, he's smiling, watches those flames get higher and higher. Oh, no, please God help me.
Okay.
So this is the breaking point. The fire that we referenced earlier is blossoming. Instead of just being the fire in Satan's eyes, the flames are now getting higher and higher.
I see.
We're seeing the fuller picture now, and it's terrifying. This is the breaking point for Faustus, where we get the first and only invocation of God. There's one reference to Satan and one reference to God. And I think that works in the play, where Faustus tries to repent and convert back to Christianity and get back in the good books and basically escape the terms of the contract he literally signed. And that's why instead of just getting, oh no, at the end of the first verse, now at the end of the second verse, once he fully realizes what he's done, we get, oh no, please God help me.
Oh, okay, great. So
this is his attempt to escape fate, or the consequences of his actions, you could argue, the consequences of the Faustian bargain. And then the lyrics settle down, and we zoom off into another cataclysmic guitar solo, and the instruments slam back in, and the guitar feels more gleeful here. It feels more rabid. It feels more horrifying.
Yes.
In the same way we talked about this kind of sonic depiction of hell being scary.
And it's like victorious, right? Because it's winning. Ozzy is losing this fight.
That is the perfect word for it. And I would argue that this is this musical interlude. I mean, if you look at it like ballet, where the music is representing the actions. It is telling the story on behalf of the characters who don't speak through the action. I think this is Faustus losing and being dragged down to hell. You have that attempt to repent and turn to God, and then we don't really have the play with Mephistopheles and the books and those last couple lines he says in the play.
Right.
We've kind of stripped that out.
Yeah.
The last major plot point you need to get before he dies is him trying to turn back to God.
Yeah.
And then being dragged down to hell.
Like you said, it's those essential elements.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think this end game, that being dragged down to hell, is represented by this musical interlude. Which is interesting because we still have one more verse to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, so what happens after? What is this, an epilogue? Is this him already in hell? What's going on now?
You're right on the money, but I want to read you the lines again.
Okay.
Is it the end, my friend? Satan's coming round the bend. People running 'cause they're scared. The people better go and beware. No, no, please no.
Okay.
So this third verse, I agree with you. I'm glad you were right on the money there. This is the play's epilogue, which is something I've always talked about in Marlowe's play. I think this is the twisting of the knife that I find so nasty and interesting. It is very much a victory lap. There's a line here. I'm walking over to my one of my many copies of Dr. Faustus that I keep on hand.
Of course.
And this is my favorite one, not just because it has the best notes, but because of the quote that it has on the back. I thought it was on the back. Where is it?
Don't ask me. I certainly don't know. That is a great copy that you've got there.
Little
We should post a
ASMR.
picture on our Instagram because it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I bought this from the university bookstore a million years ago. I'll have to just paraphrase it because I can't find the line, but it's basically, Dr. Faustus is great because it's a play where Christianity wins and is vindicated, but where Faustus has all the best lines.
Okay.
So there's this tension of, ultimately, it feels like a cautionary tale. And we're admonishing him for this bad behavior. You shouldn't sell your soul. You shouldn't seek things beyond your purview.
Nope.
But there's something intoxicating about it. There's something relatable about it. And we want to see that adventure.
Yes.
In the same way, you want to watch something like Ocean's 11 to see the heist. You want to see the crime. You want to see the bad thing.
Your main characters are all criminals.
That's the fantasy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But then there's this epilogue at the end. And I want to read you the epilogue from Faustus. I wrote down some of the lines here.
Okay.
So this is the very end of the play. Faustus is gone. Regard his hellish fall, whose fiendish fortune may exhort the wise only to wonder at unlawful things, whose deepness doth entice such forward wits to practice more than heavenly power permits.
Nice.
So I think this third verse of Black Sabbath is that same kind of shift to the epilogue, where the POV is shifting. Faustus is dead, Faustus is gone. There's no first person in the last verse of this song.
That's true, yeah.
I think, like the play, we're shifting to a more of a third person, all-knowing, omniscient perspective, which in the play, in the notes in the script, is called the chorus.
Yeah, right.
So I think Ozzy is singing from that same kind of choral perspective here.
Because there's a lot of mention of the people, right?
Yes,
and there's
exactly.
like talking about almost like the audience.
It sounds like a prescription,
Yeah,
right? That
yeah.
cautionary tale thing I talked about. He's doing that. He's giving advice. He, in the same way we used to do in stories, he's telling you the moral of the story. He's making
Right.
sure you leave the theater with the lesson, with the right opinion, so you live life the proper
Yeah.
way.
Do you get it? Yeah.
It's the morality play.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that Faustus is the ultimate morality play.
Of
That's
course.
why I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
So Ozzy appears to be addressing the listener in this kind of cordial way, but there's a smugness to it. This chorus has won, right? They haven't sold their souls to the devil. They can still talk. So is it the end, my friend? There's something kind of snarky there. My friend, like, why are we being jovial after we hear this guy be dragged down to the pits of hell with the
Yeah.
scariest guitar ever recorded?
Sure.
And then he goes on to emphasize the story's role as a cautionary tale. We're re-emphasizing the power of Satan. Satan's coming around the bend. If you're not good, Santa won't come. Like, it's that kind
Right.
of...
He's always going to be there.
Yes.
Yeah, I see.
We have to emphasize the rules, the bumpers in this bowling game.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
power
yeah, yeah.
of Satan, the power of fear, and the importance of caution. And then in the final line, which is after the people better go and beware, we end with a no, no, please no. I think this is the most interesting line in the song.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it's no longer our Faustus who's been dragged or is about to be dragged down to hell. So who is saying this?
Yes. So in the first verse, you end with oh no, which feels like the oh shit moment of
Yeah.
him realizing what he's done.
Right.
And then in the second verse, you end with oh no, no, please God help me.
Right.
Which is
Trying to appeal.
right.
Yeah.
And that's his last words before he dies. So for here to get at the end of the third verse, no, no, please no, we're almost repeating or returning to the end of the previous verses. But in this context, no, no, please no, almost feels mocking. Because we know Faustus is dead and gone, and our POV seems to have changed. And we're with this slightly condescending chorus view instead of the guy who's damned. And I think that perfectly captures the kind of gratuitous cruelty of the play's final lines and that unnecessary victory lap after we've seen this guy dragged down to hell by demons. We don't need the end of the play to admonish us about not practicing more than heavenly power permits. We don't need that finger wagging. And it seems so cruel. And this is why I've always loved Dr. Faustus, because in the late 1500s, you couldn't make an openly heretical work of art that would be staged, and, you know, the Queen came to a showing of Macbeth, right?
Right.
There has to be a level of acceptability in finer culture.
Yeah.
You can't be overly gross.
No.
If you're going to be successful and accepted here. So if you're going to be subversive, especially about something like morality or religion, it has to be under the surface.
I see.
And this is what I've always loved about the end of Dr. Faustus, because that epilogue is so cruel that it makes you kind of second guess the premise of the story, which is that Christianity is right and this guy deserved what he got. Because that great, one of my favorite lines in Harry Potter, and this is a testament to Jim Dale in the audiobook because I listened to that so much when I was a kid, is when he's kind of defending his father and he says, "My dad didn't strut."
Oh,
And there's even a line in West Wing where Leo says, "We do not strut, ever."
Yeah,
And that, I think that gets to me on a more moral level than this sort of finger-wagging morality. Why are you mocking this guy? Yeah, justice was served. He committed a crime, and we just saw him punished.
We obviously understand the consequences of these actions. Why are you driving it home so hard?
He's dragged to hell for all eternity. We see that. We see the demons pop up out of the ground and drag him down where he will be tortured until beyond the end of time.
Right.
You won.
Right. Why are
so
you...
you don't need to twist the knife. And it's so cruel. It's so unnecessary that the thing that it leaves you with as the lights come up and you leave the theater here is... Well, shit, that was kind of fucked up. That was kind of mean.
Yeah, like, well, maybe we didn't need to be quite so mean to him.
So I think that's
Did he really deserve what he got? Yeah, it makes you question it.
That's the most powerful kind of thing. Instead of, if this was a 90-minute screed about the problems with Christianity, I don't think it would be as effective.
Right.
But I love it from a perspective, as someone who's not a Christian, but is incredibly interested in theology, and especially in the philosophy of religion around Christianity. I love that the end of this play plants this seed of doubt. And it forces you into this abstraction, into this question, and where you're forced to reflect on your whole relationship to this thing. And you have to unpack the premise, and you have to look at, well, who's the bad guy? And do I think about the demon and Satan? And they're all kind of screwed. Like, it makes it neatly transitions the audience member, or in this case, the listener, from the perspective of passively absorbing a story and watching a story unfold to what we do here, which is analyzing stories. Sure. Getting in the weeds and the details and the ambiguities and finding out what you think and what the story means to you. I love that Ozzy captured that and devoted a whole verse out of 3 to that finger wagging, to leave you with that same curiosity and hesitation.
And I think what he and Marlowe have both done is, like, by using storytelling conventions to drive that home, because in Dr. Faustus, your protagonist is Faustus. And so the whole time you're watching him screw up, but because of storytelling conventions, you identify with him and you sympathize with him and you want him to win and succeed and do well. And maybe what that looks like is him repenting, like he tries to do, right? Yes. Like, you're not saying, oh yeah, sell your soul, buddy guy, but you are still, because he's your main character, you're on board with him, and there's a part of you that roots for him no matter what he does. And then Ozzy's done the same thing by especially by using the first person and sounding so vulnerable and afraid, and you didn't even see him summon. I mean, you can kind of figure it out, but you didn't even see him like do the bad thing. You just see him in a bad situation. So you also feel bad for him. And so you're sympathizing, even if you sort of understand, oh yeah, maybe he's deserving what he gets. But then once you get to the epilogue, after you're sort of primed to care about and sympathize with this this main character, for the chorus, the narrator, to then be so cruel. Yeah, it makes you question that. That's really interesting.
And that twisting of the knife, which should be a finger wagging that, re-emphasizes existing morality, instead it throws you into this place of abstraction and questioning. It seems like an overreach.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I love that that's captured in this outro between the "my friend" condescension and then the line of "Satan's coming round the bend." The only time Satan is described earlier in the song, it's Satan's sitting there.
Yeah.
So now he's described as chasing you. Even though the only time we saw him in the play or the song, he's just sitting there. So there's a sense of, again, overreach or exaggerating. Because we've just seen him sitting there, and now suddenly he's chasing you? Suddenly he's the boogeyman?
Yeah.
People running because they're scared? I mean, we haven't even dealt with multiple characters up to this point. It's basically just been Faustus.
And now I kind of feel like, is he making fun of the people who are scared? Because Satan isn't coming. He's just sitting.
Right.
So what do you mean? Yeah.
People better go and beware.
Yeah.
Like now it seems, you want the people to be scared so you can control them.
It feels sarcastic.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then no, please no, mocking the dying words of a sad man. Like this is a tragedy that we're now finger wagging at.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's unbelievable what he accomplished in 3 verses here. And
Yeah.
I've never, I mean, Ozzy was very goofy. The interviews were always silly and fun. And he was so good humored. He was so, I mean, all the demonic stuff. He was a Christian. They were all Christians.
Right. They're playing with
It's
things.
art. It's an aesthetic. You're
Yeah.
playing in a sandbox. And plenty of their songs are about their Christianity. But I love that this is, I've never heard him talk about Faustus. Maybe he did, but I don't. He's been giving interviews for 50 years now. But I love that he perfectly captured the spirit of this thing that I've been studying for over a decade.
Yeah.
In 6 minutes. In 3 verses, he told this whole story.
It's so cool.
It's an unbelievable piece of writing. In the same way, it's an unbelievable song.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like apart from all of this, it's like a really great song. And then on top of it, you've got all of this wonderful, literary connection. I mean,
And it birthed a genre. Yes, it's a retelling, it's a remake, if you were to talk about it that way. But it also created an entire genre of music.
that's pretty amazing. I got to say, you've done a lot of Faustus analysis over the course of this podcast and just our lives. This is my favorite one.
Oh, thank you.
This was really, really cool. And I 100% buy it. And I think it's so interesting. And every time you do a Faustus discussion, I'm like, I really do got to read that play. But now I'm like, I really got to read that play.
Well, more importantly, you got to go listen to some Ozzy. Listen to some Sabbath.
Yes, dear
This is
listener.
absolutely dedicated to him.
Yeah, this was a fun one to record. Listener, let us know what you think of this discussion, of the play, of the song. What's your favorite Ozzy? What's your favorite Black Sabbath song? I'd love to hear it. This was really cool. Y'all, if you didn't know, Cam is brilliant in many ways, and one of the ways that he's brilliant is that he's a writer himself. Cam is an author. His latest book is called Lemon Tarts in Space. You can check it out via the link in the description of this episode. It's a light sci-fi dark comedy, but it's cosmic and philosophical and funny and amazing in so many ways.
Like this song, it's also an audio drama.
Yes, I was gonna say you can read it as a regular book, or you can check out the fully produced audio drama that Cam directs and stars in, as well as our good friend Tristan. He plays the main character actually. Anyway, it's really delightful. Thank you so much for supporting that book, as well as all of the rest of Cam's work.
Bonus episodes over on the Patreon, $2 a month. You can support the show and get access to the entire back catalog that we've collected over years and years now of doing this show. Especially more than usual this time. Thank you very much for listening.
Yes, if you want to check out more of our Faustus discussions, because there are a bunch, just go to our YouTube or our podcast feed and just search Faustus. It'll come up.
There are plenty.
There are lots and lots and lots. Awesome. Well, this has been great. Rest in peace, Ozzy. This has been a really special episode to record. We'll catch you here in just a few days with another brand new episode.